Hello, my name is Simran and I will be discussing about process scheduling in Linux. So we will first discuss about goals of a scheduler, then concept of time slice, and then all the scheduling classes, scheduler classes and scheduling policies in Linux. So while designing our scheduler, we need to keep in mind that all the processes should get some amount of time to execute in CPU. Then we need to consider about the interactiveness for IO bound process. That means that there must not be delay for our IO bound process. Example is that whenever we are clicking on a mouse, we shouldn't be getting a delay in our response for that mouse clicking event. Then thirdly, we need to utilize our CPU as much as possible for a high throughput of our system. Then comes the concept of a time slice. So it's a maximum amount of time that a process gets before it gets preempted out by another process. So the maximum amount of time of CPU. So while determining our time slice value, it must not be too big because that will suffer the IO bound process because we want the immediate response for those processes. And then the time slice value must not be too small because if it's too small then there will be too much of the context switching and then the overhead of context switching will be more. So the time slice value is not a hard coded value, rather it's a calculated value for, and it will be different for different processes. Then comes the scheduler class. So there are 5 scheduler class: stop, this is deadline, real time, completely fair scheduling, and this is idle. Idle is the one in which no processes, whenever CPU has no processes, it will be in idle state. Then completely fair scheduling with this here all the normal user processes comes, and this is real time, this is deadline, and this is stop, and stop is with the highest priority and that idle is with the lowest priority scheduler class. And within all the scheduler class we have different policies. So in case of stop we have no policy, in case of deadline we have a deadline policy which we will discuss, and in case of real time we have FIFO and a round robin. In case of completely fair scheduling we have some policies which we will discuss, and in case of idle we do not have any policies. So we will discuss about deadline policy. This consists of highest priority task as compared to real time and CFS. So the processes needs to be complete within a deadline. For example, video encoding and decoding processes. Whenever we are watching a video, we do not want lag in our video. So these video encoding decoding processes need to be complete within some deadline. So we use a earliest deadline first algorithm. So it is basically that the processes with the earliest deadline will be scheduled first. And for fetching those earliest deadline policy, we use red black tree. Now Bhuval will explain about real-time classes.
We now look into working of real-time and CFS classes. So for that, first we look at the priority value structures used in Linux. So Linux uses total of 140 priority values and 0 to 139. So 0 being the highest one in the user space. So the 0 to 99, the first 100 priorities are taken care of by real-time class, and the rest 40 priorities are taken care by CFS class. And the CFS class also uses a nice value apart from this raw priority. So the nice value is minus 20 to 19. So this directly maps 1 to 1 with this range. So you can simply add 120 to the nice value to get the priority. You can actually see these priorities in your system as well. So if you type out the following command, it will show the real-time priorities. So the dashes means that this task is not a real-time task, and otherwise the priorities are given here. And for the nice value as well, you can see these values 0 to 0 minus 20 and so on. Now on the real-time class. So real-time class picks the tasks with the higher priority first. And if the priority value is same, then it uses FIFO and round robin policy. So this FIFO and round robin queues are implemented using linked lists. And this real-time class is used for some short latency tasks. Example, IRQ threads. So interrupt handling should be fast enough. So if an keyboard interrupt occurs, it should be responded in low latency. The completely fair scheduling is of most significance because all the user processes reside here by default, and the scheduler also spends most of the time in this class itself. To understand the working of it, we first understand the ideal fair scheduling. In the ideal scenario, at any point of time, each of the processes have got equal amount of CPU time. For example of that is given here. There are 4 processes A, B, C, D with their given burst times. So if we have a 4 millisecond time slice, it is divided equally among all the processes and everyone gets to execute 1 millisecond each. The same happens for other time slices, and after any point of time, each of the processes has got equal amount of CPU time. After 4 time slices, only two of them remain. So everyone gets 2 milliseconds each, and so on. Now Rahil will explain how this idea is implemented in CFS.
Let us start with the concept of virtual runtime. So the Linux kernel keeps track of the amount of time that any process runs inside the processor. So if a process runs for t time, then the value of this v runtime gets incremented by a product of time t and the priority value of the process. For IO bound processes, the value of this t is very small and hence the increment in v runtime is also very small. For the processes that have high priority, they have a smaller value of this priority variable and hence the v runtime increases very slowly in them as well. When picking up the next task, the scheduling algorithm CFS looks at v runtime of all the processes and picks the process that has minimum value of v runtime. To find out such a process, a red-black tree is maintained in the system. Since red-black trees are self-balancing binary search trees, insertion and deletion takes logarithmic time. To find out the node that has the smallest value, we start from the root and go to each of its left child, and ultimately we will reach the node that has smallest value of v runtime. That is again stored in another variable, that is min v runtime, so that we can access it in order of 1 time. Now let us look at some analysis and see how the CFS algorithm achieves the goals that we started with. So the first goal was that the scheduling should be fair. What happens in CFS is that whenever any process needs to run, it is popped off from the red-black tree, it runs for certain amount of time, the value of v runtime for that process increases, and then it again gets pushed into the red-black tree. So now since its v runtime has increased, it moves towards the right part of the tree. Hence this ensures that all the processes get a fair chance to run. Another important task was to maintain interactiveness. For this we are using a v runtime, and as we saw that IO bound processes the v runtime increases very slowly. That means that whenever they get inserted back in the red-black tree, they are moving towards right very slowly. This ensures that they get very frequent execution in a processor. Another aspect was a good throughput, and this is ensured in CFS by smartly calculating the value of time slice dynamically. And also we do not need to iterate over all the processes to find the process that has minimum value of v runtime. Rather, using red-black tree reduces that linear time complexity to logarithmic time complexity, and hence it is also very efficient. That is all from our side. Thank you very much.